Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I trust there are still some people walking over from the schools. Beautiful day out. It's good. It's good. Welcome. Glad you could make it here this afternoon. Let's give a round of applause for our musicians from Logan Middle School. Thank you so much. Job well done. So in 2015, I attended the Wisconsin State School Board's convention with board members and had an opportunity then to hear a keynote presentation from Mr. Kevin Honeycutt. And Dr. Harsey was there as well, and when we left, we said, we got to get him here. We got to get him to La Crosse somehow, because he has a great message. It's a fun message. It's an inspiring message. It's a message that focuses on creativity and innovation in classrooms and fun in classrooms. And it's March 11th, and it's time now to have fun in classrooms. So, okay, just checking. But purposefully, I did bring Kevin here at this particular time of the year because I know it's that time of the year when we look at our calendars and say, okay, how many days are left, and what day of the year do we end on this year? And so as a method to bring in hopefully some inspiration, some fun stories at the same time, we brought Kevin Honeycutt. Now, I want to tell you that that this particular event, Kevin was with us all day yesterday. He's been in several of our classrooms in the school district. He also last night did a very nice community presentation. We had about 150 people here, which I thought was great given all the other options that there were in town last night and things going on. And had a nice discussion with parents about digital footprints for children and how best to be side by side with your child when they're online and when they do things online, etc. And today it's about innovation. This particular event, bringing Kevin here, he comes to us from Kansas, near Wichita, Kansas. He'll tell you more about his background. He is a board member, a school board member. He's also a teacher. But more recently, he travels around the world. And he'll be telling you stories about places he's seen, things he's done, and how he's connecting schools with other schools around the globe along the way. This would not be made possible, by the way, if it weren't for your PTOs. You may not know it, but your PTOs have paid for you to be here. They've put money in for you to be here. The Public Education Foundation has helped financially support this, and Channel 8 WKBT has helped financially support this as well, and so is your Board of Education. We've had a partnership of 4 organizations in our community that have put forth the dollars to bring Kevin here. We're very fortunate that he's here. So, I think without further ado, I introduce to all of you Mr. Kevin Honeycutt.
Okay, so let me tell you who I really am now. I'm from a small town called Inman, Kansas, and if you have your device, if you're on your device while I'm talking, I don't care. Because I'm in charge, this is my classroom, and I'm going to set the culture. And once I set the culture and you know the expectation, I don't have to get mad at you anymore. There's always a kid who has the device out. Are they doing the right thing? Who knows? There's kids who brought Playboys to school. We didn't close the building. We talked to the kid who had the problem, right? So if you've got your device out and you're Googling me, good for you. Check your sources, students, even if they're made out of meat. Just because I'm standing here doesn't mean I'm worth listening to. Raise your hand if you Googled me. Good. Good, do that. Now, I'm the kind of student that I'm in the front row with my laptop open and I'm not checking email. I'm Googling. I'm going deeper than you asked me to because that's how I learn. If I don't interact with what you say, I forget it. I'm renting it with an option to buy. The truth is, I have to do something with what you say and then I'll own it. So I'm not looking to distract myself, but not every student is like that. So you have to know me. And I get teachers who get mad about the devices. I had a lady yell at me. I become the lightning rod of their fear of change. I don't know how it happens. I hate those Chromebooks, said the teacher. I said, why? I don't know what the kids in the back row are doing. I said, get up. Walk around. Kids pass paper notes. We didn't ban paper, right? Or use Google Docs so you can see all the kids at the same time. I love Google Docs because I'm the air traffic controller of literacy. I could see every plane in the air right from my desk, you know? So I use tools. I'm not good at it, and I don't do any of it right or correct, you know? Perfect is the enemy of done. I just start. I'm MacGyver, you know? And the purists don't like me because I don't do it by the letter. I don't care. I use it the way it works where I'm from. And I guess that's kind of the Midwest mentality, right? If it works, I'll use it. I love that practicality, you know? You go some places and they're so smart and so perfect that they're 10 years behind, you know? I love the Midwest because we're more practical than that. So, you know, I'm from Inman, Kansas, and I'll show you I'm on the school board. I'm a third-term school board member. Don't judge me. But if you're going to talk about this stuff, you should be doing this stuff. So, you know, we're one-to-one iPads 9 through 12, and that was a big deal because 4 years ago we were one-to-one nothing. We just weren't ready. We didn't know what we wanted to use. And we spent some time and we gave devices to teachers and let them play and we let them choose. We let them choose what they wanted to do. And we kind of changed our approach. We let them pick. And we have knocked it out of the park because we let the teachers lead. See, because you're going to learn stuff. And then you're going to teach her some stuff and you're going to teach him some stuff if that's the culture. But if we're all supposed to know everything already, then we're not allowed to help each other because we have to admit we don't know things. You know, we have a file cabinet that we lock full of our treasured learning, right? And that was the old days. Our teachers are teaching our teachers, and they're good, you know? We get out of their way and let them go learn, and they figure things out. You need certain things for your students. You need different things because you have a different class. It's okay that you don't do the same thing. I was doing a staff development in upstate New York. This is how I do it. You're all in my staff development. I take you to a website where there's 1,000 tools, and I say, go explore and look for things you might use with your kids. I'm going to shut up for 2 hours. And I shut up. And the teachers are like, oh my God, is this really happening? They trust us? Because you know what you need. I don't know what you need. What kind of arrogance is that you listen to one guy talk all day that doesn't even know what you teach? So they're having a great time. Superintendent comes in and yells at me. What are you doing? Oh, I'm giving them time to learn. They're not on task, he says, about the teachers. They're not on task. I said, what do you mean? They're all doing different things. I said, they all teach different things. He hates me, this guy. He believes that one expert should come and talk to you all day, whether or not he knows what you do. And this happens, you know? They bring that one guy in. How many of you ever sat through a whole day of staff development and didn't get one thing you could use? Raise your hand. This is the problem. And this is why some of you came in early to make sure you could sit in the back. I'm wearing deodorant. I showered. I'm worth being here for. But you don't know that, so you're reserving the right to be disinterested. I understand. It's my job to pull you forward. And in classes, there's research on where you sit, by the way. I don't know if you guys know this, but you people who sit up here, research calls you policymakers. You know why you're here. There's a name for the people who sat in the back on purpose. Research calls you bystanders. Don't bother me and I won't bother you. I'll take my C. I won't set the classroom on fire. Now, this has been true for a very long time. This is the custodial arrangement of teaching. And we've had this for a long time. We understand custodial arrangement of teaching means it was designed so custodians could get brooms between the chairs. But it wasn't designed for optimal learning. It's an accident of architecture, and we're still doing it. And it freaks me out. So I look at the back row and I say, how do I give those kids a front row seat? And if I can't use this to do that, we're wasting a lot of money. So before you choose your devices, good grief, don't buy laptops, Chromebooks, iPads, and put worksheets on them. Why would you? It's an evolutionary step sideways. Why would you buy a Ferrari and go 5 miles an hour? I walked in a teacher's classroom the other day. She had a Promethean board, the Cadillac of smart boards, and she had posters taped to it. You ever have a moment when you don't even know what to say? You're just like, oh my God. Did you miss a workshop, sweetie? You got a smart board. That's like a windshield to everything. You could be doing Google Hangouts with NASA. You could be rocking your kids' world by doing collaborative projects with kids in New Guinea, and you're using it as a chalkboard with posters? Good grief. And I know there's stuff we don't know. They have a staff development. You're supposed to learn things, but they go too fast. They don't give you time to do it. And then you get the next day you try and you can't, and you're not going to do that in front of kids. I understand. But I'm connected to lots of teachers worldwide. I build my own little staff development in my pocket. I'm on Twitter, connected to 48,000 other teachers worldwide. You're welcome. And that's not a popularity contest. I need help. You probably have all the resources you need. I feel you. I don't. Kansas, we're having a hard time with money right now. You've probably got lots of money in Wisconsin. We have a governor who's cutting education and talking bad about teachers and saying awful things and taking away our rights and breaking up our unions. You probably haven't experienced any of that either. Here's the problem. We're dying of humble. While you're busy doing great things, other people are telling your story for you and they're getting it wrong. We can no longer be secret geniuses, guys and girls. I know you're humble. I love you for it. But we have to live out loud. We have to share what we do. And if you don't want to brag about you, why wouldn't you brag about your kids? So yes, I'm on Twitter telling the good news of great learning in Inman schools. Why? I love Inman schools. And you can die while being great if no one knows you're there. So yes, we're leveraging social media. You think Mayberry wants to do that? It's a survival thing. We have to tell our story better than the politicians. How many of you think we have better stories than the politicians? Raise your hand. Keep your hand up if I can easily find them online. What the heck? So I can't brag about you because, you know what I mean? This is the thing. Are we global or are we snow global? That's my problem, guys. I think we're snow global. And so no one knows what's going on inside here. And the kids have to work in a global world. We have to break the glass. And right now, when kids get a glass cutter and try to break the glass, we give them a detention. We have got to knock down these walls. I want your kids collaborating with kids that I know in Australia. They can't wait for you to answer the phone. Build something together. Build something the way Boeing makes an airplane. Let them rehearse 21st century skills. It's not rocket science. Let them talk to each other. Figure things out. Solve a problem, a world problem. Will you know how to do this? No, you won't, but you just got permission to do something creative. Use it, right? At the top of revised Bloom's taxonomy is the word create. We have permission, right? And what Bloom's is saying is that when a kid can take what you taught them and create something from it, they own it. But until then, they're renting it, right? So how do we let them create? I spent most of my career trying to figure that out, right? I'm the art teacher. Raise your hand, art teachers. I picked art on purpose. Rock on, art teachers. You know why I picked art? No one bothers the art teacher. Because they don't understand us, man. They're a little bit afraid of us, and that's cool. I picked it because I knew no one would bother me. I could do brain surgery, and no one would come in my classroom, you know? The superintendent, he said, Kevin, do whatever you want. You're the artiste. Artiste? I said, why do you have to sabotage the name of my career? Principal. I picked art because in my room, there's 100 ways I can let you be amazing. I knew I could do that, right? That's why I picked that. And in those days, it was so hard because the history teacher had a curriculum, a straitjacket, basically, and so did the math teacher, you know what I mean? But we're living in different times now. There's a lot of ways to let kids learn. In fact, you're all becoming the art teacher because of all these tools. So rather than be afraid, don't be afraid, just do it. Because I want a role model for kids that humans have to keep learning. Yeah? You ever let a kid teach you something? I do this all the time, even with software that I already know. You ever do this just to let them have a big day? Let's pretend that you're in the back of the room back there, and you're a great kid, but you're invisible, and that you prefer it that way. But I can't leave you back there. I got to hook you and cook you. That's my philosophy. Hook them and cook them. Hook them and cook them. So I want you to have a big day, and I happen to know that you love the software I just showed you yesterday that works on all the laptops. It's called SketchUp, and you're good at it. You stayed after school to work on it. So I decide I'm going to leverage that with you. Now, I've been using SketchUp for 7 years, and I'm good with it. But today I'm going to pretend I don't know how to use it. Hey, can you help me? I know you like SketchUp. Can you do a project for me and then show it to the class? Mr. Honeycutt, do I get your paycheck too? So she comes up here, and she opens up the software and says, okay, when you first launch SketchUp, by the way, this is free. When you first launch SketchUp, you have this sort of landscape, and you can draw things with the pencil. If you click here and drag, you get measurements in real time. When you let go, you can draw a new line, and then you can draw a new line, and it tells you when it's parallel and perpendicular. When you let go, you can draw one more line from here to here, and then once you connect those, it pours a concrete slab for you. Now you have a foundation. Then you grab the push-pull tool, push-pull. You click here and pull. Pull up, down, right? And if you use the magnifying glass, you can zoom in and zoom out, and also you can orbit like this and change the plane. I just wish math and measurement was in the standards. right? So this is free. And I showed this to 1,500 Michigan high school kids in a gym recently and asked them how many of them wanted to try it. How many hands went up? All, and it's free, right? So how can we find an excuse? Let's pretend I'm scared. I'm not doing this with the whole class. I've never done it before. I wouldn't pee with my pants on fire. Fine. But I'll let those two try it, you two, because you're crazy anyway, right? And I'll let everyone else do it the old way, and this year I'll let you teach me, and next year I'll do it. That's okay. You don't have to do it all now. Good grief. You don't have time. I understand that, right? But how could you start, right? So I'm going to let you do it. So I let you unwrap the present. Now, what else can you do? Once you're in here, if you click the 3D warehouse, it opens up this warehouse full of all kinds of things. What's in the warehouse, Mr. Honeycutt? Thanks for asking. The human skeleton, the circulatory system, the nervous system, the Pantheon, the Parthenon, Conestoga Wagon, Prairie Schooner, Andersonville Civil War Prison, the Gettysburg Battlefield, House of the Seven Gables, Wuthering Heights, every state capitol, the Eiffel Tower, every freaking thing we teach is already in there for free. So what if I let you go get some things I'm teaching, build a little museum, and make placards for the wall? This is really research and descriptive writing. Shh, don't tell them. They think they're designers. They're staying after school to be designers. And I don't care why it works, right? And then parents come and you let them be docents of a museum. Or you can do a poster or a PowerPoint. You know what I mean? So you don't have to do it with all of them. In fact, don't do it with all of them. Doing digital with everybody is just as bad as not doing digital with everybody. Let them have choices. Some of them like this, some of them like other things. And every year I add new things to the things that I can do. So I'm going to open up a recent file. I was working with some elementary kids in Ness City, Kansas, and I showed them this problem. I said, kids, I'm on planes every day of my life. And recently I started traveling with my baby, and I realized that I can't deploy, the little tray table with him on my lap because it won't come down. I need you to design something for me. And because I made it about my baby, they couldn't wait to try, right? So I gave them this file, which is the airplane seat, and let them, this is third grade, all right? I let them look at this, right? And they're moving it around, and they're trying to see how they could hook it on, where would they hook the thing, and then they started doing, this is the best kid in the class designed this one. Here's his tray table. So it hooks onto the thing, see? And there's a place for his Cheerios and other little toys. This is a mirror, so we can see each other. And over here, she has little Velcro patches that receive little things that he can do. And you can take him out, put him in the baby bag, and get new things out and reload it partway through the flight. It's a freaking great product, right? They can sell that. I think it would sell. Now, I'm not crazy. I've been doing this for a while. This thing that you're looking at right here is called the Go-dium, and it was invented by some high school kids from that same school. The superintendent wanted to do some entrepreneurial things with kids, and that's what I do, right? I come from poverty, and I work my way out. I care about kids understanding how money works, financial literacy. I think if we love them, they have to know these things. So he gave me 4 kids to work with, and I said, boys, I need a podium that's also a suitcase that travels with me everywhere I go, but when I get there, it deploys into this podium, comes totally apart, the wheels go inside so the airlines can't break them, and if it lasts for a year, I'll give you $135 for it. And they designed the Go-dium. This is the Go-dium, the Go Podium. It's on Twitter, it has its own account. The first one was cardboard, and I knew it was gonna break, right? But I travel with it anyway because I like to stand behind kids' work even if I know it needs work, right? So the first corners they gave me were cardboard, which I knew would last one trip. But I let them break, and then I took pictures of the damage, and I sent them to the teacher. The teacher said, guys, we got a customer in the field with a broken Go-dium. And the kids got to work on the next iteration, and the next iteration, and the next iteration. I just kept doing it. This is the Go-dium 2.0, made out of that laminated plastic that you use for political signs. Right? But they stacked it up so it can't rip, And the airlines tear it up and they get it dirty, and I just drew this picture on there about a week ago so that it had something on it that reminded me of home because I miss home. I'm on the road a lot. I wouldn't do this for money. This is sacred to me to have time with you, and I mean that. I love teachers. My wife is a teacher. She teaches K4, 5 grades. Elementary teachers, raise your hand. Okay, pretend I hired you to go to a charter school, and you have to teach 5 grades. No textbooks. You have MacBook Pros. That's all you get. No budget. Part-time art teacher, your husband, right? Part-time janitor, your husband. Part-time administrator, right? And that's your job. And they're not easy kids. They don't send you easy kids. They send you the hard kids, the ones, they call them identified without services, which basically means a big problem and you got no help. And my wife takes it on, man. She takes it on. She had a little kindergartner come to her class, a little sociopath kindergartner. And I wish I was kidding. He has been in one foster home after another. He has never bonded with a human. If you don't bond by a certain time, it's really hard to bond. He'll hug you, and when you turn around, he'll stab you with scissors. He went in the bathroom and wrote F-U-C-K 100 times with fat Sharpie marker. She comes home and says, I'm going to find a way to love this one. That's my wife. And I listen to a politician talk her down. She has nothing. My wife has had lice so many times. She hates when I talk about this. When I'm home, I don't check her for ticks, I check her for lice. Because she hugs them all. Because it may be the only hug they ever get. You know what I mean? She errs on the side of loving these kids. And that's how she raised me. Thank God she has that heart, right? But people need to know what she does so they can support it. Here's what I've learned. People support what they've learned to be proud of. Without your story, I can't be proud. You know what I mean? So how do we live out loud? How do we show people what we're trying to do with our kids? I just wish all these devices had cameras. They do. How many of you have ever done a great lesson, got all the way done, and realized you didn't even get a picture of it? Raise your hand. You can't do that anymore. Where are the student film crews and documentarians at least getting pictures? I know what you're thinking. Well, what if the lesson doesn't go well? Don't publish them. But at least get the pictures. Tweet it out, post it out so the district can be proud. It's the some pig principle. Art teachers, you might know this. When I chose art, I also knew I was going to be vulnerable. The first teacher they fire, when they're cutting faculty, I knew it was probably me, right? Me or the theater person, right? And then vocal music and instrumental music in that order. So I knew I had to do big projects every year. I called Some Pig Project. Some Pig. Read Charlotte's Web? Yeah, you don't want them to make bacon out of Wilbur. You're Wilbur, okay? You're optional. So I had to be too big for them to cut me. And that means I had to show them the great things that were happening. And some teachers didn't understand what I was doing. They thought I was bragging. I wasn't. I was surviving. I had to make it bigger. It couldn't just be in the classroom. It wasn't enough, right? Theater. I direct theater. They want to cut theater every year. It's $1,000 to do the play. Come on, $1,000. How much do they spend on other things? They're going to cut the program. My kids who do plays don't do anything else. It's the one thing they're good at. Who does theater in here? Who cares about drama and stuff? I love theater. Why? To stand up here in front of all of you with poise, what does that teach for life? I still remember every line from every play I was ever in school. Do you believe me? I was Puck in A Midsummer Night's Dream in 1988. Let me do a little piece. The king doth keep his revels here tonight. Take heed the queen come not within his sight. For Oberon is passing fell and wrath, because that she, as her attendant hath, a loved boy stolen from an Indian king. She never had so sweet a changeling. And jealous Oberon would have the child knight of his train to traipse the forest wild, but she by force withholds the loved boy. I could do the whole show. I remember that for life. Now let's look at the recipe for lifelong remembering. It was scary. People bought a ticket. If I screw up, they're going to be mad. There were stakes. There's an audience. There's a deadline. I never forgot that concoction. So when I taught, I created the same circumstance. Parents are coming Friday. You guys got to be ready. And you know how kids are. They lollygag, lollygag, lollygag. And at the last minute, if there's an audience, then they suddenly get very serious. Because kids are an interesting combination of, I don't know, lazy and perfectionists that leads to nothing, right? So I have to create deadlines. I create a soft deadline and a hard deadline. The soft deadline, there's a little audience, not too scary, and they present missing the things they're missing. And that's when they go, oh my God, we're not even close to done. You think? Because the nature of being a kid is thinking, you're almost done, when there's 2 days of work to still do. So part of what we got to do is teach them really how time works, right? Oh, one more thing. Second grade. I went into the classroom in second grade at the same school, and I always do scenarios. I go, kids, I need something, because they'll do things for me, because I build a relationship. Kids, I need something. What do you need? I need a ruler. I go to New Zealand, and I go to Australia. They use the metric system, and we don't. And so what I want to do is I want you to invent me a ruler that has fractions on it, that turns 1 foot into fractions so that I can use fractions to talk about measurement in those countries. The truth is I don't need that. But a lot of elementary teachers can use the ruler to teach fractions. So they invented the fruler, the fraction ruler. And guess what? It works. So high school went into AutoCAD and took their designs and turned them into a real printable on their 3D printer product. Guess what? People want to buy it. And second graders are like, oh my God, we made a real thing. Yes, you did. I get excited about such things. I asked these same boys who built this, and by the way, they're watching Twitter right now to see if you say anything about the Go-dium. So if you're on Twitter, just say @Go-dium, G-O-D-I-U-M, because they're watching the hashtag. So's the superintendent, so's that teacher, because they love this thing, right? This is their product. But I want to teach more than this. I want to teach being an entrepreneur. So I push it. I say, kids, I need more. What do you need now, Mr. Honeycutt? I need a stool. I need a stool that totally comes apart, collapses, lays flat, and fits inside the Go-dium. Behold, the Go-dium stool. Oh my gosh, right? It's lightweight, it comes apart, it's portable, right? Actually, last week they sold 30 of these at $60 each. Now I got them. Hooked them and cooked them, right? They're thinking about being entrepreneurs, and that superintendent wants to start a project where there's an entrepreneurial class in the district where kids do this at all grade levels, because it's financial literacy, and it's a lot of other things too. You've got to check this out. Please tweet about it, because the kids are watching, right? And I want them to see that the world values what they do. I'm going to get out of here and back into my prezzo here. Okay, so I'm going to share this little story, personal story. That's me and my wife. That's Michelle. I met her my freshman year of college. You have to understand, I'm the first Honeycutt to graduate high school. And I broke the rules and went to college. And it was because of teachers like you. Crazy teachers who taught me I could. It was never the perfect teachers. The Susie Cream Cheese teachers. You know what I'm talking about. The ones who wear denim and wooden apples. They pick teaching like a lifestyle choice, like a handbag, you know? I could tell. They pictured themselves walking down the hall with the cute little kids like ducklings behind them, all so cute. I was more of an iguana. I had one of these teachers almost hug me one day. She had her arm around a cute little girl that looked like a baby her, and I'm standing over there with my high water pants, my long hair. By the way, I didn't choose long hair. In my house, we had choices. Mom's bowl haircut or long hair. I'm not a druggie. Please, don't sum me up. Don't judge me. See what I could be, not what I excruciatingly am. That's the teachers I like. She started to put her arm around me, but she didn't look at me. And when she saw me, she pulled her arm back. I'm in third grade, and I died that day. I'm not touchable. You think I want something from you? I'll hang out with the shop teacher, the three-fingered shop teacher, talking about bandsaw safety. Because that guy is interesting. He's a story. He's a character. He's real. He brings real to the job. I can smell real, you know what I mean? So I think part of the challenge today is there's all this new stuff that has us a little freaked out. I get it. But while you're freaked out, you're real. You can ask for their help. You can bond through that. You know what I mean? You can let them help with the machinery. We're smart about the curriculum. I don't care if you drive the car. I'll teach you how to drive. You know what I mean? It's not an ego thing. If you want to change education with me tonight, you want to lead a revolution, break into every classroom and burn every file cabinet. And if that freaked you out, good. Because some of you got mimeograph stuff in there. You know you do. Remember the mimeograph? You'd be out in the hallway sniffing that stuff. Woo, this is third hour. 3 more sniffs. So we have this chance to sort of reset things, and we're going to be freaked out. But it's actually healthy, I think, to be freaked out. The night I met Michelle, I knew I was going to marry her. I took her to an expensive restaurant. We were there at Denny's. And I was just giving her my line of bull. You know, I'm pretty good at bull. And she looked across the table. She said, "You realize I know you're full of crap, right?" And I thought, man, this is smart. I'm going to marry this girl because Dad said, marry a smart girl. Kevin, take the family tree above ground. 6 years. She dated me 6 years before she married me because she knew what I was. I was a child of poverty and a child of abuse, and I'm a kid who watched his dad beat his mom, and she knew the statistics. She was pretty point blank with me. She said, you ever hit me and I'll kill you in your sleep. And she smiled when she said it. So I never hit her. Do I want to hit her? No. But I grew up with a bad example, and it's the only one I have. So I could never hit my wife. See, I have to fix this. In one generation, I got to turn the Honeycutts around. That means I had to give my whole life to this. I had dreams, but I didn't chase them because I just had to stabilize my life so my kid could have his dreams. So I bought a house, and I paid it off, and I paid off a mortgage, and I mowed grass for the first time. I didn't know any of those skills. When you're from poverty, you're surviving. And I moved to Inman, Kansas, and we had little Benjamin Honeycutt, and I'm the junior high football coach. Coaches, raise your hand. I became junior high football coach. And by the way, I never played football, but they offered me high school cheerleading or junior high football. I didn't flip a coin, you know what I mean? Because when you're the art teacher, they already doubt your heterosexual street credentials anyway. So I ran the weight room, and I did junior high football, and I'm guessing the whole time. And I love junior high because they don't even know what they don't know yet. First day of practice, kid comes in with his cup on backwards. Mr. Honeycutt, this doesn't feel right. I said, what are you trying to protect, son? We were 7-1. I played everybody. I'd call in a play, and the kids would go, no. I'd call in a 4-2 double go, no. 4-2 strong side? Yes. That's how I ran the season. I just did what they said. And we did all right, you know? We did all right. And my kid grew up in Inman, Kansas, you know? We're the Teutons. Teuton sounds like a crouton. It's a Teutonic warrior. Looks like a Spartan, got the broom on his head and everything like that. It's a Germanic sort of Mennonite community, you know? And our motto is, judge first, lest you miss your chance. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. And my kid grew up, you know? And my kid's weird, man. I said, what do you want to be for Halloween? He said, exit sign. Who asks for that? He's a very strange. I had to build the exit sign costume. It had to light up front and back. I used lightsabers in front and back. We won the costume contest, right? And I love my kid, man, you know? And he went to Kansas University to join the family business. He's becoming a teacher. History teachers, raise your hand. I blame you. Because he was going to be an attorney, teacher retirement problem solved, until he ran into a freaking amazing history teacher. It got him all jacked up about the Peloponnesian War. And he came home that night and told me every word of this woman's lecture in her voice. And I went, oh, crap. He's going to become a history teacher. And he picked the hardest school in Kansas City, inner city, tough kids, because I raised him to be an idealist. We don't go easy places, you know. And I'm so proud of him. And when he moved out, you know, I looked at my wife, and I said, it's just us, baby. It's just us. We get to go have fun. She's all freaking out, like empty nest syndrome. I don't know. I said, we did our job. Me and you can date again. I took her to concerts. We went to REO Speedwagon and Styx, and we're in the front row now, baby. We got our drink on, you know, roll with the changes, keep on roll. And when you got your drink on, you can bend your knees way down. You notice? Next morning, you wake up, you don't have your drink on. Your knees go, remember us? Yeah, you tore us up last night, man. Good luck stumbling over there, right? But I'm having a good time with the whole thing, man. I'm just like, this is what we're supposed to do. So I'm doing my job, and I'm still traveling all over the world. And I'm at my dinner table one night, and my wife comes up to me because we've been spending time in this. If you don't know what this is, it's a chair and a half. If you've been married for a while and things get a little boring, buy a chair and a half. Trust me. Because you and her can both fit in the chair and a half, get your wine on, a little Netflix. Stuff starts happening. I'm just saying. Chair and a half. So I'm liking how it's going so far. Then she comes up to me with this. Let that percolate. Just let that percolate for a minute. I'm 49 years old. I did this before. I had a minivan. I sat through T-ball, man. I paid my bills. And now, well, that's little Gibson Lee. There he is right there. And I get to do it all again. I think God did this to me. They say 23 years is optimal spacing between siblings. My wife said, we're back in the game. I said, I wasn't aware I had eligibility. Now, I know God did this to me because I think he thought, if you're going to talk about raising digital kids, I got to give you a fresh one. So now we get to raise this kid in exactly these days, these times. I did good with my first one. I'm proud of Benjamin, I am. But the internet was brand new back then. We learned beside each other. There wasn't much you could do, right? That was a whole other time. Now we got to decide how he's going to interface, and he's going to use technology. He has to, but I'm not rushing it. If he's not literate with technology, in the future, he'll be considered the new illiterate. I can't just put it away. But right now, he's little, and I've done my research. He reads books made of paper. Yeah. Because the research says if you give them a tablet too fast or a device too fast, they see a screen and they experience the world in a flat way, and they don't develop proper depth perception. And my wife is on this too. And by the way, all the years she taught, you know how many freaking books we have? At 5 grade levels, all leveled out. So we're reading to him. And when he experiences an iPad for the first time, it will have a book on it. It will be a book. We won't play games first. We're not doing that. And a lot of parents do this. They turn that device into a babysitter. And I know why. It's tempting. Some of you guys bought a minivan with DVD players on the headrest, didn't you? And you're listening to Frozen for the 13th time. You're going to kill somebody. A DVD player is different than an iPad. A DVD player is a push technology. It pushes stuff at your kid, but it doesn't ask their opinion, right? The web is a different thing. It pushes stuff at them, and it asks for their input. We can't not be there when that happens. There's no cruise control, sorry for this. The worst thing is we got to talk to our kids about the choices they make with devices. The best thing is we get to talk to our kids about the choices they make with devices. It's different now, okay? So I have to do these things. I can't just talk about it. I'm on Facebook. You think I want to be? I'm role modeling. I'm on Twitter. You think I want to be? I don't have time to pee, much less tweet. I have to be there because the kids in my community see me there, and they act different when I'm there. How many of you believe this, that even good kids will do stupid things if no one's watching? How many of you believe this? Even good adults will do stupid things if no one's watching. Senator Weiner. Anthony Weiner. Your name is Weiner. What are you thinking? Is it the third wine? What's going on that night that he posts this? When an adult does that, I think, oh my gosh, we got to talk to kids. We got to talk to kids about choices before they do the stupid thing, because kids will do stupid things. How many of you have ever asked a kid this question? What were you thinking? Raise your hand if you've asked that question. What do they say? Every time, just like that. What? Like Scooby-Doo. What? Freaking honor student just did a bonehead thing. What were you thinking? I don't know. This was making me crazy because I have a kid. So I had to understand why his brain would do this. I went all the way to MIT, the Learning in the Brain Conference. There was a study coming out on why kids today do stupid things. It wasn't called that, but it was something like that. I'm in the front row with my pen and paper. I'm writing this down. And the researchers are talking about the development of the brain and the prefrontal cortex, the part right behind your forehead that makes decisions, the last thing to develop in a human. So why kids, when they get ready to make a choice, they just choose something. Not always for a good reason, but they are affected by popular culture and the things they see around them, and look what they see around them. And if we're not in that conversation, we don't even get a vote. So I have to be in that conversation. They showed video of asking 15-year-olds this question: is it a good idea to swim with sharks? That was the control question. Girls at 15 mostly say, no. What do you think boys at 15 say? Could be cool. If you had friends with you, yeah, more snacks for the sharks. The research seems to indicate that girls begin to develop that frontal cortex around the age of 16, while men marry one. So I had this. Kid went to college, I bought a Camaro. We're spending his inheritance. I got my wife a Challenger. Things are going good. But then we had this, and now I have this. I'm back. It's really hard to sit on the floor for a long time. I'm just saying, okay? When you're younger, you don't even know. But when you're older, you ever get on the floor too long, you think, I don't think I can get up from this floor. You need a spatula to get off the floor, right? You can get a lot of things back, but it's really hard to get your stamina back, you know? And I don't want to be creepy old man dad at T-ball, you know? This is not coming back. This is gone, right? And I don't want to say, why does your granddad always bring you? I got to try to stay hip the best I can, you know? My wife looks younger than me, so that's cool, but I look like Yoda, you know? I'm going to do the best I can. That's all I can do. So there's little Gibson Lee, and I drew that picture on here because I need him to be with me. I miss him when I'm gone because I didn't know this was going to happen. I have a robot at home. It's a double robotics robot, and I found these things when they first came out before they were on Big Bang Theory. I had one already because I watched the Kickstarter campaign. I needed it. I could put an iPad on there. It's in my house with wheels. I can log in on my phone, and I can go anywhere in my house I want to. Is it as good as being there? No. Is it better than not being there? Yeah. I'm there at bath time, story time, and Gibson knows it's me. By the way, if your school had one, and the girl was in chemo and had to miss 6 months, she wouldn't have to miss 6 months. She could be going down your hall like that, and that may sound weird to you, but the parents that do this, they thank us. And the kids love it. And they go to recess, they go to lunch just like a person, you know? I see a day when we have lanes in the hall for robotic kids who can't come to your school. You may have 20% population who've never been to your school, and you still get money for it because you're a better school than the school they have nearby them. Why wouldn't we try that? Here's the other cool thing. I can send that robot anywhere in the world, dial into it, and take a tour of that place with students. How many of you think if you had one of those robots, you'd find a way to use it? Raise your hand. I want to get some of those robots here, right? And get some funding. We can get some funding. Get a GoFundMe campaign started. Because I'm connected to so many people on Twitter, I can get most teachers' project funded in a day. If you're only raising $1,000, we can do that in a day. Don't ask for $10,000. It's hard. But $1,000 at a time, we can do that. So get connected. Right? There's no reason why you have to be told no anymore. And I want kids to know this too, right? So I need this kid to grow up, not look like this. He looks like a paper boy in that hat, right? He's got to be, well, he's going to be digital, but not too soon, right? I want him to have success, happiness, and he can go after his dreams. I want him to hunt with this stuff, not just play with it. Here's the problem. When kids get the devices before us, they turn it into recess. Try to get that back once they've done that, right? So I want you to have it first. When we brought iPads to our school, teachers had them for a full year before the kids had them. We gave them a head start, right? And teachers had questions like, can I print with this? We said no. The truth is you could, but we just said no. Because guess what? You don't have to. We could save a ton of money. Why are we killing trees? I can hand in my homework from the iPad straight to your iPad without printing it off. But we're from a generation where we're comfortable once it's made out of paper. I understand. Right? We're an Apple Distinguished program 3 years in a row, and we're Mayberry. 4 years ago, we had nothing. You can get there fast once you know why. Why, right? We talk about what, we talk about how. Forget that. Why? Why would I use this? Ask yourself these questions. Would it engage kids? Is it getting them ready for their future? Are they going to spend the rest of their lives in the future? Then yeah, there's my why. I didn't want to do any of this. I was really good analog teacher. I'm not bragging, but I work hard. I had to do everything. I was the one-man art department in my town. When we broke into curriculum meetings, I met with myself. For 13 years, I met with myself. We didn't agree on everything. I was a detached retina in education. I was lonely, you know. I had no connections. There were no networks back then. It was just me, and it was really hard. And I started bringing devices into my classroom because I saw the world was using these devices. I was teaching darkroom photography, which I love, but then I started calling the newspapers to see how many had a darkroom. And even in central Kansas, none of them had a darkroom anymore. They were all using Photoshop, which I didn't even have. So I started thinking, oh, well, I'm not doing that. So for a year, I didn't do that. I started thinking, I think I'm shoplifting from kids. I'm taking a paycheck, but I'm not getting them ready for the future. I'm doing what's easy for me. I did that. I'll own that. And then I got Photoshop. Now, guys, have you read the manual for Photoshop? How thick is that? It's thicker than the freaking Bible. How can God get his word unto his people in fewer words than Adobe needs, you know? And I'm from the old school. I read the manual. I'm at the school reading the manual at 1 in the morning because they're coming in tomorrow. And my wife calls from 2 blocks away. She says, you like being married? I said, up till now I did. She said, get home. I said, you don't understand. I have to get home. I have to learn this, but get home. She has a certain way of saying get home that makes my butt tingle. I went home and I didn't learn it that night. And the next day, the janitor let the kids into my room before I got there. And they were surrounding the software like it was a crashed UFO. And I said, kids, I don't know how to work that. They said, Honeycutt, we know you're old. We got your back. And they made a tutorial for me. I know, right? And finally, I just relaxed. I said, good grief, what was I doing? I was trying to teach technology. I don't teach the pencil. I teach art, right? I only had one computer anyway, so I had an egg timer. When it went ding, the kids got up and moved over one seat, so they all got a little bit of computer time, and they taught each other. And I went back to my life. I became a tradigital teacher. Tradigital. Traditional and digital, you know? And I got yelled at by some people. Why are you doing all this new stuff, Kevin? Cut it out or we're all going to have to do it. I was told that. I said, I won't say his name, Russ Gehring, 585-6414. Jerk. I said, Russ, is it our job to make it easy for us, or is it our job to get them ready for the future? And I was attacked a lot. The more I did with this, the more I got attacked. Because, I don't know, people were afraid of it, and I became the poster boy. I didn't mean to. I love my kids. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. And I didn't do PR. I should have told them why I was doing what I was doing, but I didn't have time. I didn't think I did, right? But we didn't have cameras on everything back then either. So I'd start a program, and I would be attacked for it. And I got used to that. Most good school innovation dies of domestic violence, right? We see that. You're doing some amazing thing. People make assumptions. I will not make assumptions about you. I know you. You love kids. If you're doing something, there's a reason. We'll talk about it later, but I will not talk you down in the faculty lounge. I will not do that. See, that happens sometimes. It's like we're a bunch of specialists who share a common parking lot, but not a common vision, right? The way you use technology won't be like me, but you'll find your own way, right? And I'll do it this other way, and we won't judge each other. It's okay. You know what I mean? You won't use it for every lesson. Don't replace your good lessons with technology. If you're going to do technology with something, pick a lesson you hate teaching anyway. Why wouldn't you replace that one? You hate that one, right? The ones you're good at, keep doing those. You rock at those. That history teacher that hooked my son didn't use anything digital. He loved his job, and it rubbed off on my child, right? But I also want him to know how to use devices too, because with a device, what can you do with history and a device? It's like bionic, right? You can take history to that next level. So I go to schools all the time where they're 10 years behind. They don't know they're 10 years behind because they had good test scores. They made AYP, right? And they built a snow globe around themselves, right? They weren't global, they're snow global. And it's really hard to help them because they think they're already perfect, and that's really, I don't know what to do, you know? How do I fix that? So when I come to a school that's open-minded and realizes that I can do anything with you. I love that. I absolutely love that, you know? And again, you don't have to replace everything, one lesson. And this is the perfect time of year, right, to try one thing, you know? Just one little thing. Don't do all of it. You'll die if you try. Just pick one little thing and take yourself outside your comfort zone. Because the research is saying to us that our kids, the ones in your classrooms, are going to have between 10 and 14 careers in their lifetimes. They won't be like us. And they're going to have to relearn every single time, and they can't hate that. So we can't role model that we hate change. Not in front of them. Don't do that. I know it bothers you when something changes. You ever go to a website and they've moved something? Where's that button? It was there yesterday. Where is it? Oh, it's over there. I hate Google. The kids see the meltdown, you know. Man, right? So raise your hand if this is true. If you lost your cell phone or your laptop, you would lose important information. Raise your hand if that's true. Raise your hand if it made you nervous to think about it. What have you done? What have you done? You have outsourced the warehousing of data to a peripheral device. You have, in effect, created for yourself digital limbs. What if I amputated yours? You ever lose your phone for a second and go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God? I love my wife, but I don't know her phone number. I don't know her number. I click wife and it calls her. I don't know her number. Humans don't do that anymore. We don't warehouse that stuff. And by the way, if you think that's bad, I don't agree. Because the research I've done says the human brain doesn't waste real estate. If you don't use it for this, the brain will use it for something else. Ever have a kid with lazy eye? They don't patch the eye. The brain shuts that off and does something else with the neocortex, right? So all that warehousing, now there's extra space, and I think we can use it for other things, like invention, creation, creativity, learning. I'm not afraid of that. Some people, they get afraid of things. How many of you have a GPS? How many of you like your GPS? How many of you love your GPS? I love my GPS. You know why? I'm directionally blind. And it's not going to change. I've tried my whole career. By the way, I'm also colorblind, and I taught art for 13 years. Rock on. I don't know I can't see, you know? So the GPS, it doesn't judge me. You miss your turn, she's still cool. Recalculating. I like it when she talks English, you know what I mean? It seems like I got my little girlfriend in the car, you know? You pull up to your location, you feel like a rock star, arriving at destination on right. My wife has caught on that I have an unnatural affection for this device. And she says mean things about her. She thinks she knows everything. I said, she kind of does. Why don't you marry it? I kind of might. Don't make me arrive at that destination. I love it. And you can judge me, and there's people who try to fix me. People try to fix you. No, it's really easy. You just go down there, and you go east. You go east for a while, and then you go, don't try to fix me. It's like talking to a blind person. Just see. Just see. I can't. Stop judging me. This new tool happened, and I can use it, and I can get on with my life. But we do this thing in school. We assess kids. We assess their skills and their abilities, and every year we give them that long list of things they can't do. How does that feel? Where's the equally long list of things they can do? Let me give you for instance. I'm not a good writer, but I'm a good talker. Talking is writing with your mouth. If you say it is. I have Dragon Dictation on my iPad. I have a book on Amazon that's about my childhood and what I learned from all of that hell. It's called Midnight Run, and it's for sale, and it's selling like hotcakes. I wrote that book with my mouth. I just talked to the book. I told the stories, and it wrote itself. I spell checked. It's worth reading, right? I have a book. Some people aren't going to like this if you make an exception. I'm in your class, and I'm not getting it, dude, and I'm trying, but if you knew what was going on at my house, I'm emotionally compromised. The front door of my learning is burned down. If you let me come in the window, I'll be your best fan. I swear to God, I'll lube your car, whatever you want. Have you noticed that when you see a kid and you value them for what they are, they'll do anything for you? Have you seen this? I love that about kids. So you let me talk my book, and you're going to take a beating. People are going to get mad. That's cheating. That's just some cheating right there. Because we're so fair, it's unfair how fair we are. Every kid does it the same way. Guys, is a wheelchair ramp cheating? Kids learn different ways, and we have new tools. We have new spices. We don't have to make meatloaf anymore, right? So what are we cooking with all of this stuff? I want you to think that way, you know? Think like a MacGyver. Pretend it's a MASH hospital, and we're inventing new surgery because we have new tools, right? I love the art teacher and the fine arts teachers because they usually grab this stuff and just go. Just like Da Vinci, you know, used eggshell tempera in a time when that was controversial, you know? Because artists just grab stuff and paint with it. They don't ask for permission. I love that. I want us all to be kind of like that. Did I give up drawing with pencil? No. My kids can draw with pencil. They can draw with stylus. They can work at GM, or they could be a fine artist, right? They can do Photoshop. They can do Illustrator. By the end of your time with me, you're going to be tradigital, and your portfolio is going to be online. And you're going to email that to every college you like. And in about 5 minutes, you're going to get a reply with a scholarship. That happened. We started doing video walk-bys of their portfolio. Hi, this is one of the first pictures I did. You can see it's pointillism. I was emulating Syrah. These are little drops, little points of paint. Look at it closer. Come over here really close. You can see that I really built things up. It's almost impasto. Now, that's just for the art teachers. You're welcome, okay? Now, there's a passionate kid talking about his love for his art. The professor sees that, you know, compared to the other kids who all just applied online. Is that anything? I did that because I love my kids. But it was controversial at the time, you know. Here's what I think is happening. Our kids are growing up on digital playgrounds and no one's on recess duty. And we're blaming them when they fall off the slide. So we got to get there. We got to get there the best we can. I have a group of grandmas on Facebook called the Digital Grannies. 2:55, really? 2 minutes and 55 seconds? Half hour? Thank you. Here's my timer. We didn't rehearse this. And what was the last thing I said? What was the last thing I said? Digital grannies. These grandmas called me. They said, we want to learn Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And I'm like freaking out going, why does grandmas want to learn that? And I said, why? They said, we want to mentor our grandkids online without embarrassing them. I do this for free. I meet with those ladies for free because I'm in love with the idea that that generation is reaching out to their grandkids in digital space and mentoring. Thank you. And they're nervous. They're nervous. The room smells like apprehension and Bengay. Find the digital grannies and join their group. They're awesome. See, I selfishly want you to make videos and put them on YouTube because I want your great-great-grandkids to find you and know you. In the old days, you could find a picture and guess about you, but now I can hear you. With perfect fidelity, I can know who Grandma was. We're the first generation that can do that. Send ourselves through time. I'm making a lot of videos for Gibson because I'm on a plane every day and I'm always afraid. I'm not afraid to die. I'm afraid to leave him. So I want him to know who Daddy was. So it's embarrassing and it's very, very real. Sorry. So if you see that stuff, you see that stuff. But I leak real. But I want him to know not what I look like, but what I care about. You know, I want to influence him beyond my life even. We can do that. I make lessons and put them on YouTube that anyone in the world can do with me. I flipped my classroom 9 years ago. I took all my lectures and I videoed them one last time, and I never do them again. I give you an iPad and say, point that at me. I'm doing the isosceles triangle, okay? Don't do anything fancy, Spielberg. Just point it in my direction. Extra credit. Thank you, buddy. And I teach my lesson one more time, and I stand aside for the girl who's homebound with long-term illness. I'm not making a video for YouTube. I'm making a video for every kid that needs it. And there are kids in your class that need it who are in your class. You ever have a kid in front of you and you can tell they're not getting it? You can tell. And you say, you understand, right? And they go, uh-huh. Because they're not going to admit they don't get it in front of everyone. But if they could go home and rewind your lecture on their mom's Android phone, they would. They don't want to be stupid, but not in front of everyone, please. So all my lessons are rewindable. You're welcome. Now, by the way, in Inman School, that's what we're doing. Bueller's not doing it. McPherson's not doing it. So people notice that. Inman schools put learning in the palm of a kid's hand. They'll catch up in 5 years, but we'll have a lot of their students before then. We're doing that. We don't waste a good crisis. Right now is the time to get bigger or wait to die. So we're getting bigger. We're doing bold, crazy things. And we're nervous about it, but we're doing it anyway. We're role modeling for kids the whole while. This is me in 1966 in Danville, Indiana. I didn't know that my dad was an alcoholic or an outlaw. I didn't know that every time he broke the law, the family would move. I didn't know that I would be in foster homes. I didn't know any of that. I'm just a child. I didn't choose my family. These kids that you have, they just are. You know what I mean? And a lot of times we indict them. We don't mean to, but we indict them with an exhalation. You come to my desk for the third time and ask the same question, and I say, I just said a lot to you without saying a word, right? With an exhalation, I just said, you're wasting my time. You're stupid, and don't come back up here again. I didn't mean to do that. Had I flipped my classroom, I could have said, watch episode 3, the isosceles triangle, wear headphones. I'll see you in a minute, buddy, thanks. And I can go back to my life, right? Is that worth trying? It's the biggest thing we're not doing. Why aren't we doing that? We've been able to for a long time, right? So we're looking at that. It's a customer service kind of thing. So shopping for clothes at my house meant a visit to this. In your town, you have a really big Goodwill store, and I really want to go there. I'm still a yard sale kind of guy, right? I get a lot of my stuff from Goodwill or from yard sales, and I'm proud of that. But when I was a kid, we didn't shop at the Goodwill store because we didn't have any money. We shopped at the Goodwill box. Dad would put me inside this thing, and I would hand out bags of clothes. Midnight on a school night, it's August. This is school clothes shopping night in our house. I'm in the Goodwill box. It's terrifying in the Goodwill box. I'm in 8th grade. I got to learn your class tomorrow, and I'm robbing the Goodwill box at midnight. That's my life. Don't judge me, please. See what I can be, not what I am, please. And it's the teachers who did that saved me. I'm in that box one night, and the police came. I heard this, 215, Roger 215. There's a blue GMC pickup parked outside of Alco next to the Goodwill box. Roger that. I'm going to run that plate. Roger that. My dad just takes off. There's nothing lonelier than third gear in a GMC from the inside of the Goodwill box, you know. I'm in 8th grade, man. Hour and a half before he came back. I didn't know if he was coming back. He just stops. Get in. Went home and tore open the trash bags. School clothes shopping night. You wore what was in those bags. That's all you had. People don't donate great clothes. They wear those. People donate embarrassing bright orange clown pants. I wore those. In 20 states, I was always the new kid with long hair, high water pants, and people just made assumptions. And it's hard. You know who was meanest in every school, everywhere? The kids who had everything. I talk to kids about 100,000 a year, and I anoint them to be better people. If God gave you everything, be kind to people. Why would you cut the last string they're hanging by? Lift people up. These are your heartbeats. When you're in your mom's tummy, your heart started beating. And you only have so many of those. Don't waste any. How do you want to spend them? Lift people up. Your student leaders, are they kind? Should they be kind? Your athletic leaders, should they be kind? Everywhere, online too. Don't have a secret life online. Don't be Jesus in the classroom and Hitler online. Don't do that. I talk about this a lot, right? I anoint their better angels. I think we have to in the things we ask kids to do. So this is hard. This is hard stuff going to school. I learned some things about people. In Tennessee, it turns out I'm gifted. Take a minute. Because I'm really average, right? But in Tennessee, I was gifted. I was 2 grades ahead of everybody else. They called me the smart Yankee boy. That Yankee boy, small hurt. 2 syllables, small hurt. I don't talk about this in Tennessee. I moved to Pennsylvania, and I was in special ed. I was so far behind that I had to be in special classes. It depends on where you are. Intelligence is relative to where you live. In Kansas, I was always average. That's why I still like Kansas now. And I found out some things. When you move all the time, you don't have an accent. You have every accent. I chameleonize dialect. Wherever I am, I was in Australia, Northern Territory, not too long ago, working with Aboriginal children. And a man came up and said, Kevin, I said, yeah, point of information, half the dingoes on the island will bite you, but half won't. How is that helpful? I mean, I don't even know what to do with that information, you know? They're pretty brave and crazy over there. But wherever I am, if I'm on the phone with tech support, suddenly I'm talking like the man from tech support on the phone. And my wife gets embarrassed. She's like, they're going to think you're making fun. I can't help it. I cannot help it. I found out that if you're shopping for shoes, it's best to be English. I don't know why, but they treat you better or something. They think you have standards. So when I was shopping for these, I said, do you have these in an 8.5? And she said, oh my God, you're from London. She said, I'm from London. I said, oh crap. I haven't been back in years. Tell me all the news. I said, I'm going to go to the loo, and when I get back, we'll have a bit of a chat. And I ran from there. Now, this propensity to pick up dialect served me very well. And as a child from poverty, I could have focused on all the reasons why I couldn't. I never did that. I thought about all the things I could do. You know what I mean? And that's my message in my book to kids. Stop using your past as an excuse for not having a future. I'm bored of that. What are you going to do anyway? All those challenges you had should be your rocket fuel. All those things that happened to you, they're your story, and that's worth something. They're your authenticity. If you use them, if you don't, they're just pain. So I use my story. I tell my story. I write my book. I make my music. And I'm saying to you kids, your biggest weakness is your biggest strength, waiting to be told well. Do that. Stop boring me with why you can't. And I'm tough that way. I love my kids, but I'm tough, right? I slap them with a velvet glove, but I'm tough, right? So this is my big dream. If I win the lottery, I'm going to buy a double-wide trailer. That's the biggest dream I could have. You understand? I don't think of a house. Never had a house. But the rich people in my world, they got a double-wide trailer with skirting. Matches the house. My house looked like this. Now, I'm on the school. I'm in front of that mailbox waiting for the school bus, and my stomach hurts. Because here's my reality. I got to go to school and pretend none of that's going on. You can't find out. If anyone finds out, I'll be back in a foster home, and they beat me there too. That's my day to look forward to. So I can't wait to get to your class. I'll survive the whole day just to get to your class because you treat me with respect, and you seem like me grown up. So I leak weakness intentionally, on purpose, right? And you value what I can do. Thank you. I just want all the classes to be that way. Why can't they, you know? Why can't I learn my way? Is that too much to ask? My second biggest fear was tornadoes. When you live in a trailer, tornadoes are scary. My biggest fear was my dad. There he is right there. That's not my dad. That's really how I thought about my dad. My job in second grade was to hide his guns when he came home drunk. And that interrogation went on late. And I got to be in your class and you wonder why I'm so distractible. Will you love me anyway? Please? Please. I don't mean to be that way. I learn different. I know I'm frustrating because you have 25 other kids, I know. But if you let me do my assignment the way I can do it, I'll rock your freaking world. I'm not looking to get away with anything. I just want to use my skills in your class. Please make an exception. Can you? I begged for that. These are the angels that saved me. Mary Lou Burgoon, 350 pounds, this woman, sideburns thicker than my father's. The most beautiful woman I ever knew. She put her arm around me at recess. She risked lice for me. I stood there in the shadow of her ample bosom. Out of the rain. That's called the 2-part slow burn, yeah. Even if I might have lice. When I graduated from college, I found all of these people. I went on a mission to thank them all while they were alive. Because when I was young, I wasn't nice. I bit. No, I didn't know how to be nice. I was surviving. But then I was grateful, so I found her. She'd already retired, but I found her house. Kids will find you. Some of you got gray in your hair. You know what I mean. You ever see a former student in the grocery store and they come running up and you don't know if they're going to hug you or hit you? Keep the shopping cart between you until you know for sure. She's on her front porch sitting on living room furniture because that's how we roll in Ottawa, Kansas. And I walked up to her like she was Jesus, you know. Kids will do that. They still talk to you with reverence. They still say Mr. and Mrs. even though they got kids, you know what I mean? That's beautiful. I said, Mary Lou Burgoon? She said, who's asking? I said, Kevin Honeycutt. She said, who? That hurt a little bit because I thought it meant something to both of us in 78. Turns out the woman had a caseload, you know. I said, Hawthorne Elementary in 1978, you saved my life. You're the only human that was nice to me. She said, that's my job. And I hugged her, you know. This is Dorothy Anderson, secretary, Hawthorne Elementary. She sent me these little notes every day. Not technology, it was really Oriental trading. I'm the only kid that got mail every day. They were these little things. And they smelled like her. And she smelled good. Nothing in my world smelled good, you know, but these smelled good. And she predicted that I was going to be extraordinary in all of these. She ordered me off a menu with these, you know. And I lost everything moving. We weren't allowed to take things with us, but I didn't lose these. I laminated these. This is all I had. And when I went to college at Ottawa University in Ottawa, Kansas, she lives in that town, and she saw me in the newspaper, incoming freshman class 1985. And she saw me in Safeway, and she said, Kevin Honeycutt. I said, Dorothy Anderson. She said, I saw you in the paper, son. You going to college? I said, yeah. She said, I am so proud of you. She said, I know your life. While you're in college, you come to my house and you eat out of my fridge. You are my son. How do you say thank you for that? So whatever you have to do to connect to kids. And I know they bite. Right? I know they bite. You know, you do that, right? And now it's not just paper. We have other ways to find them brilliant. You know what I mean? And to say it doesn't work, you tried. You do the best you can. They might not get it this year. They'll call you when they're 30 and they finally want to write. The timing just didn't work, you know? Wasn't your fault. So I'm sitting, not in that chair. I'm sitting in the back with the bystanders in 1984. And my father died that year. He drowned in a drinking accident at the lake. And finally, the tormentor was gone. And you might think that's a good thing, but we were used to him. He was our tormentor. And suddenly he was gone. And I'm just in free fall. I'm flunking everything. I don't even know why I'm at school. I'm sitting in the back row, beating my head against the wall, literally just hitting it against the wall. And I hit it too hard, and my brain hit the side of the pickle jar, and I saw my own future. I had a vision of my own future in my own single white trailer without skirting, and my own kids without shoes. And I said, no, this will not be my life. I choose something else. I didn't know why I knew this, but I knew the back row was the wrong place, and I walked to the front, and I sat in one of those chairs, and my life changed that day in the front row. Teachers asked these kids more questions. It's embarrassing not to know answers, but I couldn't understand why all the kids knew the answers and I didn't. I'm pretty smart, and then I cracked the code of learning. You're not going to believe how easy it is. the next right answer in the lecture is always the next dark black word in the book. Someone should tell you that, really, don't you think? Mr. Parker was teaching neurophysiology, which is one of my favorite subjects. So at the time, I didn't know anything. And he said, the action potential has bridged the synapse, gone through the dendrite, across the cell body or soma, down the axon via the myelin sheaths, and to the terminal bulbs. What happens next in the cognitive process? That's the question. I got my fingers on the dark black words. I raised my shaky hand. He called on me, incredulous. Honeycutt? I said, excitatory or inhibitory neurotransmitters are then released into the synapse. He went, Honeycutt. He gave me one of them. It hit me like crack cocaine. I just knew some stuff just now. So I got addicted to that. I came to school early every day and I memorized the dark black words in every class. For the next 3 years, I got all A's and 1 B. I went from D's and F's to all A's and 1 B. Simple formula. Front row seat, dark black words. I wasn't stupid, right? Now, we can't give every kid a front row seat because the architecture doesn't work. So what can we do on that device that feels like a front row seat? So my man back there, you're a writer, but you're shy. You never share. You're not in front of the class, and I shouldn't make you do it because you stammer. And every time I do that, they don't make fun of you in here because I won't let them, but in the hallway, it's a meaner place. So I'm hurting you by trying to help you. So instead, I'm using Google Docs to let you share your writing, and from the back seat, you're in the front, and suddenly something happens. You start to become a rock star from back there because I tried this thing. I'm doing that. I don't know how to do it right. I've never done it right. I'm going to try to figure it out. And if I don't know, the kids will teach me. Every cool thing I show you, a 5th grader showed me. I don't really know how to do things, really. Ever see a kid launch? You ever see a kid do something amazing and blow everyone's mind? I live for this. A moment when they get to be a rock star. See, in you're my class, every one of you is going to have a rock star moment this year. I don't care what I have to do to make that happen. I'm going to do something amazing with all of you. I'm going to make a big deal out of you. I'm going to confirm you. You know, you ever have a success with a child and parents suddenly want them tested for gifted? One success. They're like, you think she could be gifted? Should we test her? She's walking upright. You're welcome. Let's not lose her minds here. Right. I had this little girl, and no one likes her on the faculty. I had a teacher tell me she didn't like her. I don't like that one. I said, we're allowed not to like them? She's in junior high. She's not done yet. Come on. We can do this. I do a little research and find out why she's so mean. Her dad sold meth, and the police raided the house. There was a gun battle. They shot and killed him, and she was standing there. That's how she started. So she's a little compromised, but she's a writer. She writes poems. She calls it her therapy. If you read her poems, they'll break your heart. They're not nasty. They're full of pain, you know? And I want to make what she's doing matter. Writing is important, right? Right? So I'm writing in your class. How many people read my writing? If it's just you, is that enough? What famous author would have written any of their books for one person? Right? So how do we use technology to get them an audience? In a nice way. And there are ways you can do this so it's moderated, so the comments are moderated. Whatever you have to do, there are things that you can do. Edmodo's free. You can create an environment where they share writing and critique one another, and you can teach them how to do that kindly, right? So I'm going to try that if I can. Well, with her, she needed something big. So I go out online and I talk to my network, and they tell me about Lulu.com, Lulu.com, self-publishing for free. I'd never heard of it. So I tried it myself. I always tame the tool before I do it with kids. I published 2 of my school plays. I write school plays. I published them on Lulu, and then I understood how it works. Here's how it works. You get an account for free. You upload your PDF or your Word document. You choose cover art, and you click Publish. You choose wire-bound or hard-bound, perfect-bound, coffee table quality, whatever. You click Publish, and once I click Publish, any of you can buy my book worldwide, and it will ship to you. And the profit margin comes to my PayPal account. Well, I'm trying that. And I did. And then I went to her and said, you're an author. Yeah. Have you been published? No. Would you like to be today? Maybe. Do you have those in Word? Yes. I said, stay after school. Let's publish your first book. And we did. We published her first book, Saving Me Poetry from My Heart. 10 pages in paperback, which she priced at $24.95. I can't afford a freaking book. It's 10 pages. I said, sweetie, it's 10 pages. What should it cost? I don't know. Do some research. She marked it down to $5.52 finally, and I bought it with my credit card that night on the couch. 3 days later, it comes to my house. I got her book. I can't wait to get to school, show her her book. By the way, it's legally copyrighted too. Right. I get to school and she's at her locker and I hold the book up and go, psst. And she turns around slowly and goes, it's like this moment that you live for, right? She took it from my hands with the reverence of a Bible. She launched. She left scorch marks on the tile. She became an author right then. Do you understand? She opened it slowly and said, I misspelled everything. She suddenly cares about spelling. She suddenly cares about spelling. She didn't yesterday, but now she's a published author, for gosh sakes. She asked me a question that rocked my world. She said, Mr. Honeycutt, how do I revise? I said, just give me a minute. I never thought anyone would ever ask. Just click the revise button, pull it back down, make your changes, click upload, and click publish. She did, and she hasn't stopped writing since then. And then I thought, what else could I do with this? We pay Jostens $30,000 to do our yearbook. Not anymore. We went on Lulu and we found the other schools that do their yearbook on there, and we called them on the phone and said, how did you do that? And we copied them. We made $10,000. We didn't spend 30, we made 10. And at a time when they're cutting teachers, how do you like me now? We say writing is important. Here's a way to sanctify it. What if you just made a compendium? Best writers in our school, 2016, 2017. The best writers in our school strut their stuff on the pages of this hallowed book. Did you make the cut? First part is all short stories, poem, whatever. And kids are now working hard to get into the book. And it's in the library. Grandma bought 2. Is it anything? I look at these things and I get my why. What's my why? I want writing to be important to kids. That's why. Once I know that, I start playing. These are the kids that invented the Go-dium. Tuesday, they're coming to my offices to bring 30 of them that they sold and to spike the ball in the end zone. And we're going to make a big deal out of these kids because we want them to do it again. These are little Kansas farm boys, you know. They didn't have a clue, and now they're like, oh, swagger, you know. They got a little bit of swagger. I work with kids in Flint, Michigan. I work with kids in pretty hard places, and when I can give them hope, I like to do that. I work with kids in juvie, juvenile detention, pretrial lockup. You ever work in juvie? It's exactly like staff development. A hostile room full of people who don't want to be there, and one of them may shank you. It's the same gig, man. First time I went in juvie, I had to hold up my ID. The camera looked. I got pencils and paper. I'm an art teacher. Second door. First thing, the guard comes running over and takes my pencils. You can't bring pencils in here. I said, why? They stab each other. I said, crap. He said, no, don't worry, man, I got you. He brings me a box of gummy pencils. You ever draw with an earthworm? You need pencil Viagra or something. It's not working at all, man. Sorry. First thing I got to do is turn my back on the inmates, you know? You ever have a day like that where you wish you had 2 of you? You're like, okay, today we're going to draw a 64 Chevy Impala with a flame job, three-stage flame job, okay? And I'm thinking, man, I wish I had a second me. Man, I wish I had a second me. And that's the day I went home and made a second me. Cool. So I took a document cam. No, I made a document cam. I don't have any money. Don't wait, right? I'm a MacGyver. I got a Xerox box. Turn it upside down, cut arches on 4 sides, cut a hole in the top, put my phone on it, turn on the camera, hit record, and underneath here, trailer park document cam. I don't have time to wait till they give me what I need it now. So I recorded 110 10-minute videos because in 1 hour with them, I can do 3 of these lessons, right? And I can team teach with myself. When I did this, suddenly archived Honeycutt is teaching the lesson, and this Honeycutt is walking the room and talking to kids and talking about meth and gangs and choices. That second me would have never happened if I hadn't liberated that me. Why would you teach the same thing every freaking hour? You ever get to the 3rd hour and think, did I say this already? I can't remember if I said this already. I don't do that anymore, man. They can watch the video at home. That's the homework. My lecture is the homework. When When you come to class, we're going to do a hands-on lesson and confirm the homework. We're going to create the way Bloom says we should. You're welcome. They won't like it at first when you challenge them this way. They won't like it at first. I understand. We're not in this to be liked, right? And there's going to be problems. I know some of them will have problems. So do it anyway, right? Don't wait to be perfect. You won't do it. These are fluffy bunnies. I do fluffy bunnies with gangbangers. Look at them fluffy bunnies. There's some bad fluffy bunnies. Don't mess with these fluffy bunnies. They'll tear you up, man. One of my gangbangers said, I'm giving mine to my mom. He still loves his mom. It's not too late. I believe you can flip a kid like you flip a house, right? Just like you flip a house. You notice the value from the curb, invest in daily improvements, and watch the value rise. Raise your hand if you agree. I've seen it. You Yodas, you know what I'm talking about. I believe you can flip a teacher. We get tired, y'all. Decades go by, right? Remember when everyone loved you because you were brand new? You were the Jedi. Then it became your job, right? You close that door every day and you get older. I want you new again. I believe we can do that, you know? Just jump in and try some crazy stuff, right? I think it will make you feel young again, right? And you'll do it your way. Don't apologize for doing it your way. These are the shoes they gave me. I said, I want to understand your life, boys. I want to walk a mile in your shoes. And they thought I meant I wanted the shoes. It was a ceremony. They presented me with some shoes. I felt like Jane Goodall. Today the chimps brought me into the inner circle. Presented me with their hallowed footwear. 5 minutes? I'm down to 5? Okay, I got to tell you a story. I'm all over the place. I want to tell you first, though, that I want to come back and I want to talk to you some more because in real life, I have this many slides. I have 40 hours worth of stuff I want to share with you, and I had just this much time. So I'm kind of hurrying, but I want to share more with you guys. I don't think I have anything figured out, but I try. I try to figure things out. But I'm just going to do it like this. I'm going to share a story with you. When I was in 8th grade, I got my first guitar. Now, I begged for a guitar every year, but I didn't get one because poor kids don't get things like guitars. But my dad finally found a guitar at a yard sale for $1 with no strings attached. It had no strings, so I waited, for 6 months to get strings, and finally at Christmas I got strings, and suddenly I got a loaded weapon. Now, back then there was no YouTube. And I'm talking to kids and going, what are you learning on YouTube? What are you learning with the most powerful learning tools in human history, right? The web and technology prepares a buffet of learning tools, and you're eating the napkins? Show me something. I demand that you show me something. Show me why that's good. I'm a jerk this way. So I started teaching myself. This is my first song. I started sliding that. Music teachers, raise your hand. This is all I could do. So there was a talent show coming up, and I entered it. I thought I was going to win. I did my little song. I got up on stage in front of 1,700 junior high kids. I did this. The kids were cool at first. They said, nice start. They didn't know that's all I could do. I thought I was doing good. They started booing, throwing things at me. And they hustled me off the stage, and I cried and threw the guitar in the closet and said, never again. What was I thinking? I suck. The guitar kept talking to me. You must play me. It had this like Nasonex B voice. You must play me. I'm like, shut up, stupid guitar. I hate you, betrayer. You must learn to play me. I don't want to play. But I had to. I just know I'm supposed to play this. I was born in the wrong house, but I didn't choose that. I must learn this. And I moved too often. I almost learned music so many times. Then I moved, and I moved. I got this close. I couldn't read music. But I would find chords. I thought I invented G and C and E. I didn't know they existed. When I found out they existed, I was mad because those are mine, G is mine. So I practiced and I practiced. I won my wife with my guitar. She said, you're a jerk, but when you play guitar, I thought there could be hope. And so it's the thing that I kind of taught myself. And so I show this to kids, and I've been teaching guitar for 25 years. I'm not good. I still can't read music, but I'll teach you 3 chords and get you started. That's what I do on YouTube and everywhere else. What frustrates me is that kids start guitar, but they don't keep going. They quit. And they almost always quit the same place, at Blisters. Most kids aren't braver than Blisters. What that tells me is they don't want to rock. How about learning? Are there blisters between kids and other things, like language, like math, like science? How do we make them want to rock? Because if you want it bad, you stayed with it. You stayed with it. You wanted it, right? How do we get them to want it so bad? Because at the beginning it hurts. It physically hurts, right? We call it rigor. Rigor. Say that word, rigor, rigor. It sounds medieval, right? Pillage, plunder, and rigor. Why does it have to hurt? Why does it have to hurt? Because it hurt in my day, and by gosh, you can pay your bills. Here. Little mister. So I'm okay if we try other ways to get kids to want things, right? I play guitar and all my different things. Do I have enough time to do one more little thing, or do you think I should bring it in for a landing? Because I can do that. I'm out of time, aren't I? One little thing. I got to do one more little thing here. I started, when the iPad came out and the iPhone came out, I noticed these things, and I started looking for apps that let me teach music because I want kids to learn. And I don't mean cheating apps like Guitar Hero, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. But if you can rock Guitar Hero and I hand you a real guitar, can you play that? So it's not real, right? It hooks them, but it doesn't cook them. So I'm looking for something that I can hook them and cook them with. So on my phone, I start looking for apps. And the first one that interested me was called Pocket Guitar. It turns my phone into the fretboard of a guitar. But I can't cheat. I have to know. So I'm playing in airports. I'm practicing with this thing all the time. Because if you can do that chord here, it works on here. It's real. It's a real chord, right? That's what I'm looking for. What apps can I use to get kids excited? So I start collecting those apps, and I start looking to see which ones do you think kids might actually like. Here's iShred, I-S-H-R-E-D. This is not chord structures, it's chord progressions, right? So let's do a little AC/DC. A, D, D, G, it's actually A5. I add little things to it. I punch it up a little bit. I bring lights and stuff and let kids rock out and do these little digital jams. Let kids bring costumes, and I let the kids rock who've never rocked before, and that's how I get them. I hook them and I cook them by letting them be little rock stars. This is voice band. Turns my voice into the instrument. Oh my gosh. I want to come back because I got a million more things to show you. I just want you to open your mind a little bit, right, to a tradigital way, like maybe including some things you hadn't tried before to hook those kids who you almost got the first time to get a second shot, right? And it will mean changing things that you think, I understand, just like I'm changing diapers. I didn't think I would be either, right? I'm honored that you guys listen to me. My website is kevinhoneycutt.org. Hit me on Twitter. Hit me on Facebook. Let's get to that last slide so I have that right there. And I'll turn this thing off for those of you who are getting ready to have a seizure. I'm honored that you spent heartbeats listening to me. Thank you, guys and girls.